Whether you are a private investigator, a security guard, a process server, loss prevention, repo, fugitive recovery, a flashlight is a key element of the tools that you carry. And if you know me, after the years I've been online teaching and preaching, I'm not a believer in tools and stuff and things. I believe you carry your job, your career, your information up here. Yes, you do need some tools, very few. I call these things toys. Here's what I want to talk about today is flashlights and 3 or 4 key elements that you need to know about flashlights. Hi, this is Larry Kaye with ShadowAnyone.com. I'm the creator of the Investigator's Ultimate Guide series, which is premium private investigator training from someone who's been there and done that, been there, done that. So often is the key. If you're learning this stuff from an anonymous private investigator school or security guard course or something, and you don't know who's behind it, the experience they've had, be a little cautious. Anybody trying to teach you something, get you a result in your life that they haven't gotten in their life. I've been there, done that, from the lowly part-time junior second shift security guard up to security manager, licensed private investigator, process server, loss prevention. Okay, so even a handful of repos and a couple of fugitive recovery things. Not that I'm an expert there. Flashlights, let's get to it. How powerful does the flashlight have to be? How bright does it have to be? This is measured in lumens. Don't be thrown off by any other measurement that people are tossing at you for flashlight. Brightness really does count. And, you don't need 1,000,000 lumens most of the time. You just don't. 100,000 lumens, anything weird, obnoxious like that. Day to day, real life, doing this job, these jobs that we do, 90 is that's about where I would say for the minimum. Okay? 90 lumen and above. Don't go broke with a flashlight. Everything I'm talking about here, you can snag in a $10, $12, sometimes $7 flashlight. Keep it affordable. You're going to use it a lot, but that doesn't mean it has to be super expensive. Number 2 about flashlights is the batteries. What kind of batteries do they have? And I've been in the game long enough that used to carry that big long stick of a flashlight that was loaded up with 6, 8 D-cell batteries. We all pretended was just a flashlight, but we knew that in a pinch we'd give somebody a smack with it if we had to, purely in self-defense. Always keep things legal and ethical. But nowadays, flashlights, the batteries can actually be even rechargeable, a lot of times through a USB port or plugging into a wall. I don't have a ton of experience with those. I know guys that do, and they love them. And I have no problems with that in particular. What little I've worked with them, that's really worked well for me and for my brothers and sisters in security. If you're using your flashlight a lot every night, rechargeable very well may be the way to go, because purchasing batteries, very, very expensive. But for a lot of us private investigators, process servers who use our flashlights intermittently, but you should be carrying one with you. AA batteries is kind of my go-to. Why? Because a flashlight, a good, normal, everyday flashlight that uses AA batteries, if push comes to shove, if things go really sideways, if we're facing the zombie apocalypse, you can find AA's everywhere, including, pull them out of a remote control if you have to. So when your batteries die, you can still have a light source because you've chosen a common battery. If you choose these little button batteries or something like that, they're expensive to replace and hard to find in a pinch. Size of a flashlight. I've touched on this a little bit for security professionals. Back in the day, we used to carry those big, huge flashlights. Nowadays, flashlights can be pretty small, and I kind of like that. This is one that I carry kind of on a regular basis. You can see it's not that big. It's very, very bright. It's got my 90 lumens that I'm looking for. Probably 90 lumens plus, and it's just got a one-touch button on the back to operate it. But this fits very easily into tactical pants pockets and even in a back jean pocket if you need to. I have lost 1 or 2 of these over the years, especially the ones that have a little clip on them. I clip them in my back pocket. They'll catch on something and I'll lose them. But again, at $10, you can't go wrong. Snag 2 and you'll have a spare one for when you lose the one that you've got. So that size of flashlight really is good for, again, security professionals and whatnot. If you're carrying them daily as a private investigator or a process server, and I really believe of the very few things you need to carry around with you on a daily basis for the job, maybe not everyday carry, going out to dinner, it's up to you, but for work, you need to have a flashlight. Private investigators, process servers, you can get very pin-like lights. They're very thin, and they're going to generally be on the AAA batteries. I don't have a problem with that because we're talking about now something you can slip into your jacket pocket and carry around as easily as you would an ink pen and have readily accessible whenever you're out working. Very, very important, though, to carry that flashlight, even when you don't think you'll need it. You'd be surprised how often it comes up. Last but not least, there are all sorts of functions and features in flashlights that are really nifty and kind of cool and fun to have, but it begins to fall into that toy category. The flashlight, again, that I like to carry on a regular basis is just got that push on, push off. If I push it on, I can you see this? Kind of tap it with my thumb and make it flash. I've used that plenty of times, but generally you don't need a special function for like a blinking or flashing. Every once in a great while that comes in handy. Honestly, what you can do is you can just, cover it with your hand, wave it back and forth, or do it manually yourself to get that flashing effect on the very rare occasions that you're going to need it. Very rare. My very tactical brothers and sisters, especially those that carry firearms, a momentary on, momentary off switch is very nice so that they can just have it on and off at will. And that's because when you're holding a flashlight and a firearm at the same time, moving tactically, especially say close quarters or through a building, you want to be able to shut off that light and so you're not illuminating yourself and bring it back on instantly. So a momentary touch switch for those of you who work armed might be something to consider. I personally very much like just what I showed you, click on, click off, because in day-to-day security work, we generally are going to want to turn that flashlight on and not worry about positive pressure on the button to keep that light on. We want to be able to look down an alley, a hallway, into a closet or a room, and just to be able to turn it on and know it's going to stay on is valuable to me. Finally, they do have ones that have different modes as far as height, low, medium, battery life lasts differently. I don't really find the need for that. I want reliably, here's what happens when I push the button once, here's what happens. No question, it's not going to go into a flash mode. It's not going to be red. It's not going to be medium strength. The only thing, and it just happens to, is the beam of light, how big or small, and that's adjustable on different flashlights. On this one, you can adjust it by pulling out or pushing in on the length, and that's kind of a nice function, although I do work most of my time in just that medium size beam, but it's nice to be able to focus it if I have to. Some flashlights you'll find work a twist to do that. Well, that's a lot of information about flashlights, but really, these are the fundamentals, and everything else you learn and see about flashlights, keep these things in mind because these are the really important things. In our industry, those of us who are really out there doing it in security and investigations, this can be, we got the flashlights we like, we use them the way we like, we know that we're right about how we're doing it. Please share with me in the comments any ideas or suggestions, because I'm not above learning, and although there's 25 plus years of experience that goes into my evaluation of what makes a good flashlight, I really want to hear from you as well. In the meantime, this is Larry Kaye with ShadowAnyone.com. Remember, do the right thing, even if it's the hard thing.